Welcome to Lucia's Vegan Lifestyle, your show for compassionate living without sacrifice. There's a lot more to being vegan than just food. Even what vegans drink has to be taken into consideration. For those who enjoy wine, there are certain ingredients to look out for, from the soil up. Lucia's Vegan Lifestyle is partnering with Vegan Wines to bring you a series on vegan wines. In this episode, we'll talk with Frances Gonzalez, founder of Vegan Wines, who will give us an intro into what makes wines truly vegan. Then we'll sample a wine from her portfolio along with you and share anecdotes as well as suggestions on what to pair it with. We are joined by Frances Gonzalez of Vegan Wines. Frances, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Lucia.
A lot of people don't know that being vegan is not solely about the food you eat. So I love having you on the show to explain about vegan wines and non-vegan wines. So let's start with the basics. What is it that makes wines not vegan and vegan?
Vegan wines is simply wines without animal products from the soil up. So you ever had a glass of wine where the sediments go at the bottom of the glass, right?
Yeah.
They don't change the taste of the wine, but people want to see a nice clear glass of wine. So they'll use products like let's say egg whites, because it holds on to the sediments, it takes it out, the binding, and then you have a clear wine. A lot of the wine industry uses this because it's an easier way to get your wines clean in and out, so you produce more. We work with small wineries that don't do this, and they don't have that many wines, like tens of thousands, but they're making it without these animal products.
What made you start your company?
I've been a vegan for over 25 years, and I was in France with my partner, and all of a sudden we're in this tour and someone says egg whites, and I'm like, okay, what does egg whites have to do with wine? And I learned, and my birthday vacation turned into a research. Thank goodness my partner is not much of a wine drinker, so he was doing the driving and I was doing the research.
Perfect. Is that why you picked him as your partner?
Part of it. He's a great guy. And a vegan as well.
Met him. And that's a plus to being a vegan. So he was driving and you were drinking.
Yes, I was drinking and asking a whole bunch of questions. And the more I asked, the more I learned. And it was fascinating. And it was new. It's a new world for me. You imagine being a vegan for so many years and then all of a sudden what you've been drinking, it's with animal products. And you did not know because there's no ingredients in the wine bottle. So I was upset. But then I was curious. So I felt that other vegans are going to have the same reaction.
I actually, when I had been vegan, I've been vegetarian since I was a kid. And then when I turned vegan, there was still, all I knew was, animal products in like the basics, right? And it was actually a very spiteful waiter at a restaurant that informed me about vegan wines because I don't know if our viewers know, but when you're vegan, you go to a restaurant and you say, I'm vegan, and they look at you like you have two heads. Mm-hmm. So you patiently explain everything that you cannot eat, anything that comes from an animal, no dairy, no cheese, no milk, no eggs, no fish, no beef, no chicken, and nothing that comes from any of those or any living being.
Yes.
So I went through the entire list at this restaurant. They served me this, exquisite meal with friends. And then I don't know why the waiter was so angry with me. He came over, oh, you want wine? Well, you should know it's not vegan. And I went, oh, what? And then he explained it to me. And I went, wow, thank you so much for telling me that. I had no idea. And I do not want the wine you're serving. Do you have a vegan wine? And he was like, no, we don't. So that was the end of drinking that night.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's interesting because when I came back from France, I said, we have to have vegan wines in the US. We have to, like, I'll be okay once I go back home. Like, I felt like that was going to be it. And then when I Googled vegan wines, there was nothing. Honestly, there was nothing. And I said, okay, we have to tackle this. And I would go to restaurants and, you know, I would get the 3 eyes or 4 eye look, like, what the heck is she talking about? and that showed me that we had a space we had to cover.
How many years now has it been that you've had the company?
We officially got our licenses in 2017. Yeah, but I found out about it 2 years prior to it.
So it took that time of research. And did you know immediately that you wanted to do this when you came back and discovered that there was really no one who was distributing vegan wines?
Yes, I did. I didn't know how I was going to do it. Yeah, I mean, vegans, we love to live life, you know. We want to drink good wine, but we want to do it all, you know, with no harm to animals, but we love to live life just like everyone else.
Right, exactly. I know that's such a misconception, you know. I mean, even early on, you know, I guess there's still are the jokes, you know, people will bring me a leaf and a plate, and I'm like, oh, I love leaves. I also like chocolate cake, so please make me a vegan chocolate cake, but I love eating leaves. That was a misconception. You know, you must not eat, or you must not like to eat. And the main thing was, you know, I would make the sacrifice if it came down to it, for the animals and the impact on the planet, which is for human beings. I would not eat yummy food. But I do love to eat, and vegans do, and we do love to drink. Not all of us. There are some who are straight edge or abstinent or, you know, allergic, but we do love to live life, and we appreciate life. And I think this is part of being vegan, is the appreciation for life, right?
Yeah. I keep learning as I go along. I've been a vegan for over 25 years, but I'm a wine lover, but I learned from the wine producers, from the grape growers. And I've learned so much, like even people that have been in the industry for so long, they don't know that there's beeswax in corks. So, you know, it's just trying to shed light in the wine industry.
Are you working with non-vegan wine companies to bring awareness, or you're doing this through the distribution of vegan wines?
We collaborate with anyone in the wine industry that is for the environment, and they may not be vegan, but they do not use animal products in their wines or their winemaking, because from the soil up, because sometimes they don't even know they're vegan, that their wines are considered vegan. A lot of them think that they need this vegan certification in order to be vegan, and that's not true, and that's where we are kind of putting ourselves in a box, you know. In the US, the vegan certification does not include the soil, so I can't go by that. So whenever someone comes to me with a certification, I'm all for it, because it's still towards change. So I'm 100% for it. But vegan wines, we cannot vouch for that, because we still have to do our independent research to make sure it's without any animal manure from slaughterhouses or fish fertilizers or anything that is animal product in the soil, because that's part of veganism all the way up.
I love your thoroughness. There's also, let's say, collateral benefits to vegan wines, right? Not just not using egg whites, not just the not taking the beeswax, but there are collateral benefits for the environment with leather production, and even with vineyard workers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you
Very important. Well, part of it is, you know, a lot of the workers, they don't get paid what they should get paid. They are being worked extra hours, you know, whatever it is, but it's part of you know, we want to make sure that the wine producers, the grape growers that we work with are for the environment, for the people, for the animals, for the voiceless, whether you're whatever you are, for the voiceless all the way up. It's very important to us. I mean, That's why we love family vineyards, because they're more into working all together. They had workers working them for years. You could always see it in their face, like if they're happy working there. And I'm so happy when I see that. That's what we want to be about. That's our mission. Wine is food and food is wine, and I love them both.
To discover wines, you actually go places in person and you have people that you
Yes.
delegate this to.
Yes, it's very important for us to visit the vineyard and research it from the soil up, and to also meet the wine producers, the grape growers. I mean, I always want to make sure we go visit the vineyard. And I remember when we went to Chile and we visited the vineyard, and he was like, they were like, more than one, they were like, so you're actually here? I'm like, yeah, why not? And they're like, people always just make it to the tasting room. And I'm like, well, I'm not a customer. I want to import your wine. He goes, yes, that's who just makes it to the wine tasting room. Like, okay. But it's a beautiful thing to learn about the grapes and the people and the soil and the environment. It's beautiful. Actually, it's one of my favorite things.
I might just change career and come work for you.
Well, I am going to go to Italy as soon as I can, and Chile in March, so.
You'll find someone in your suitcase. So we'll let our viewers know that Francis and I will actually be tasting some of the wines, the vegan, I called you vegan, that Francis distributes with My Vegan Wines.
We look forward to tasting some wines together.
So we have a white Gregoreto, a Montefalco, and it is a family business, very small vineyard, and they everything is, all the grapes are estate, and Gregoreto is the grape from the region, so it holds its character true.
I'm so honored to be able to taste it today.
That we are. Look at that color.
Oh, so gorgeous. Wow, so golden. I always make up my own terminology.
No, but you're right, you're fine. That's a golden, it's perfect. It's a golden color.
Yes.
Look at it.
Oh, beautiful.
One of the things that they're very hot climate, right? So when you look at the label, it'll say 14%, 14%. People think, oh my gosh, 14%. But these are all naturally, like, they have to be at the high sugar rate, because that's when their harvest, that's when it's ready. So if they were to alter it and take away some of that percentage, then you're changing the natural winemaking. It's no longer natural winemaking. So you want this. And when you taste it, you won't taste the 14%.
Okay, all right. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh, wow, beautiful.
Right? I love the color. It's just...
This is so, it is transporting me outside of New York.
You could smell the vineyard. You can smell it's buttery but not too much. Just the right touch of it.
It's very sunny.
You taste the pear, and you know those fruits. You smell the pear.
And it's dry, it's not sweet at all, which I like.
There's the burst of flavor. It's a smooth finish. Very smooth finish, but long. You can still, and this, chill it a little bit more and take it to the beach.
That's exactly where I am right now, in my head anyway.
Yes, it's definitely a beautiful, beautiful Gregoreto, for sure.
Beautiful, it is beautiful. That's the word for it. Now you're all going to watch us for a half hour, get drunk.
What would you pair it with? This traditional Italian dish.
So, okay, we'll think this is from the north. Oh God, when I think of north, I think of like pappardelle with a creamy mushroom sauce, or maybe a lighter polenta with mushrooms on top, sauteed mushrooms and some garlic, herbs.
Getting me hungry.
Take out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And start calling, okay? But one of the things that I love is because, you know, you're going back to the traditional winemaking in the region, and to just hear about the food to go with it as well, to pair it. You know, one of the things that they told me is that the best foods to pair with the wines is the ones that grow around the wine.
That makes sense. That makes so much sense.
This is a very traditional Motivago Gregetto, and it shows true to its character for sure. We went the first time, and we have to visit every vineyard, so that's a must. And that's why we don't have a big wine portfolio book, because you have to travel to all of them. But they wasn't on like any of the guidebooks or anything like that. This is something that we just happened to drive, and it's like, oh, look at that. And we went in, right? The whole family that was there sat down on the table with us and was just explaining so much, the tradition, why. And he has, the winery owner, he has 2 sons, and they are part of this. They're young, but this is their future. So he wants to make sure that everything is to par to stay the way it is. And when we visited, it was bad weather, so they were very worried about the harvesting, and they were just like talking to us and peeking out the window, talking to us, and it worked out good. But they cost a lot to make sure that they harvest at the right time, and nature could change everything all in one moment. And they don't use any fertilizers like the sprays, those chemicals, they go by nature. So they have to be like very key on when to pick those grapes. Not too soon, not too late though. And you taste it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that kind of helped me be vegan is growing up, being raised that way. Even though I grew up in New York, born in New York and raised in New York, spending a lot of time in Italy from childhood, and also that my parents are rural Italians, that they grew up, they were farmers. They mainly grew up here, but they were farmers, so this connection to the earth is something that is innate or it's passed down. And this is why I appreciate every moment of my life, is not only because of, recognizing the hardship that human beings go through, but also this connection, this attention to the earth and the elements, and this connection to nature that, I don't know, somehow, especially I guess now today in this modern world where everything is digital, hello?
That's a good one.
We're kind of losing touch with the earth. Well, in some ways we're losing touch with it, but with the growth of veganism, we're kind of, connecting back to it, which is wonderful. So having a wine like this and hearing the story behind it, and that you take such care in meeting the people who make these wines and hearing, their experience and their method and their love, and then bringing it to all of us. This is just, it brings it home to all of us.
Yeah, and that's what wine is, it's, of course, you have a long week, you're thinking about a glass of wine, but it's about enjoying a good glass of wine with no animals getting hurt, that's to know that the people behind this wine care about the environment. I always tell me, not vegan yet, but if anyone cares about the environment, there's a path, because the winemakers, they're not all vegan, but they care about the environment, and they understand that in order to keep their vineyards going strong, they can't put all those things into them. They have to let nature protect herself. The vineyards protect themselves from nature. That's pretty much it. That's what they do. So they use green manure, their own green from, whatever's left over from the harvest, and they put it back in. So you're putting back in when you're taking out. So that's how they do it. And look, it's just the color. It's like, This nose, oh, it's just floral, pear. It's just beautiful nose.
It is so pretty.
You just want to take your time to like enjoy it and savor it. And this would go good with mushrooms.
Right?
Yeah. Actually, they sent me a recipe that included mushrooms to pair for a wine club member.
Oh God, do you remember what was it? What was the dish?
A lot of them do that, the winemakers. They'll pair a vegan dish from their region to go with the wine.
Vegan cheeses are becoming more popular in Italy as well now. So I would also pair this with a very nice vegan cheese from that area.
I like that.
Yeah, that was kind of my first thought, right? But then there are all these beautiful dishes from all the various regions, and they differ so much from one region to the next.
Yes.
But on its own, with fruit, even like an apple, some grapes.
Some grapes themselves, yeah.
Yeah.
Some olives.
Yes.
Because a lot of them, they also grow olives. They have their own olive oils, you know, but they have olive oil, but it's for family, you know, that's pretty much it. Actually, this was the first one that we ever carried, so we got this. Now we have a rosé from them and 2 other reds, and we'll introduce them as, you know, we go along, because their rosé is amazing as well. You know, all of them have such a unique character, and they're all estate. But through COVID, they started selling more online as well. A lot of them did. So because of the wine tasting rooms were closed, so what they noticed that a lot of people were buying box wine in the box. So we actually trying it too. So we got the Gaguetto in a box, which is 5.5 bottles in one box. And it lasts. So, but the point is about that is that it's still like, I was always hesitant about wine in a box. You know?
Me too, yeah.
So they sent it to me, and we tasted it, and it still had the same flavor.
Wow.
It didn't interrupt anything like you would think. They package it very well, and then I went and put it in the fridge and kept it for 2 weeks. And then I had a little picnic with the family, and we drank it. It was gone in that one. But 2 weeks later, who would ever thought that, right? But I always say that if you make the wine good, I mean, if you keep the character from the beginning, if you don't damage the soil, if you don't damage the grapes, if you started clean from the beginning, clean, when I mean clean, it's just no animal products and no chemical fertilizers to rush anything, then you're going to have beautiful wine. You're going to have less to do in the winemaking. You're going to have a beautiful wine. And these people, they stand by their wines. You know, this is their pride and joy. You know how they are.
Oh, yes. But I shouldn't say it in a complaining way.
No,
it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, you know. And then I think, you know, with the world the way it is, when we're lucky enough to have that connection and we're lucky enough to enjoy this, we better savor it and we better appreciate it, you know.
It's so true.
Yeah. So we're going to drink every drop on that note. You can see that we're...
It's too good to just... We have to savor it. And no coping.
No, you can't even with this. You can't.
No. But what, you know, I really enjoy about this wine is that you can enjoy it solo, like with no food, or with food. It's very friendly, you know, and it's 14%. Can you taste the alcohol?
Not at all.
Right?
Not at all.
And that's the balance with nature that they keep. So it's the grapes they just have all that sugar in them, and there you go, the 14%, but it just gives that flavor too. Cheers!
Here's to vegan wines and a vegan future.
Cheers to that, for sure.
We paired our grechetto with an aged white vegan cheddar. You can find a wide variety of vegan cheeses at your local health food store, or make them yourself. This particular grechetto goes well with gorgonzola, a blue cheese, which you can order from a vegan cheesemaker or find an easy recipe online. Email Frances with any questions and join the Vegan Wines Club at veganwines.com. Subscribe to Lucia's Vegan Lifestyle on YouTube and follow on Instagram and Facebook to watch previous episodes and for extras, including cooking demos on Instagram Reels and some of the products that I use in my daily vegan life. You can watch all of Season 1 on the LVL YouTube channel. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Lucia's Vegan Lifestyle, your show for compassionate living without sacrifice. I'm Lucia, I'm vegan, and this is my lifestyle.